Okay, guys. First of all, welcome everyone. This is the very first of a long series of landscapes interviews we're going to do. Myself, Horizons, and the rest of the team, Sibel and Harald, we're going to introduce you guys who have been part of our label. So most of the time you will see artists that have been featured into our label. The first episode will start with, I don't know how to describe this, but literally he's an outstanding producer. I've been looking for him for a long time. I really wanted him to jump on our label. He's a master when it comes to psytrance, when it comes to progressive psytrance. So that's the main reason why I wanted to have something very, very special. And for my single called Choke Kirao, I wanted to have Coredata into the label. So hi, Johnny. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, thank you so much. And that's how you pronounce it, right? What is it?
Yes, that first thing. It sounds like weird, to be honest, but it's Choque Kirao, which is basically naming after like a very nice sightseeing place in Peru, where it used to be like a Inca's population, like somewhere, somehow. So I felt like it was a really, really great landscape to watch it when I was doing it. So I feel like, well, it sounds like that's the right name for that track. Which is what I basically normally do, like with all my tracks, like naming them after like special places around the world. So, well, first of all, I want to thank you for, like the great work you've done for us, the whole label team. We really, really are, excited about that. Johnny, the first thing I wanted to ask you about this is, how are you, first of all?
Yeah, I'm good. I've just started a new teaching post in a college down the road in Tottenham. I'm teaching music production to 16 to 19 ages, just preparing them for the future and like doing careers in music and music production, which is great. Coming back from COVID as well, which is a bit chaotic, but it's a brand new course. So I'm setting it up from the ground up. I'm building the studio. I'm getting like all the software, all the kit in myself. I'm the music specialist there, so I'm basically just almost my own boss, which is pretty cool.
Nice. Well, anyway, like it's really good that you somehow find a way to cope with this period. So, sticking to the release now, the Landscapes release was featuring myself, was featuring your remix and the Paranoia 106 remix. Now, is there anything that you really, really liked when it comes to like remixing that track, or what was the thing that you really remember about the remixing?
Yeah, so when you first previewed it to me, it was just, I think it was the whole, the vibe of it. There was something so kind of, so it just sort of, I think of water and kind of a deep like pool, and it's just kind of all those kind of deep sounds just kind of resonated with me, and I thought that I love remixing. I love when people send me stuff, and there's certain things that just snap with me. I either go, yes, I'm going to do it, and then I get it, and I get. And the way I love to remix is to I don't like when the remixes come up and they're all sort of spread out to fill the track. I like it when they're kind of individual stems just set up, and I can just sort of make my own thing and sort of play around with it. But yeah, there was something about that track that was just so deep, and I could just swim in it, and it was just like a really nice, vast soundscape. And when it comes to me, I like making kind of groovy the tracks with the 303 bass and the kind of hi-hats from the 909. And I just thought it'd be nice to make one that's with my kind of staple platypus inspired 303 bass line and things like that, and also with the SH01 that I've got there in the back with that melody. I really enjoyed it. I think thank you for having me on board.
Well, sticking to the fact that, like platypus seems to be something that connects a lot of us. I remember have met Johnny a while ago at a party, and one of the very first things that we were talking about was literally the platypus passion that we both have, that we both share. So how did it all start, like for your side? Like why platypus? Why that kind of a dark stuff?
Yeah, so I was growing up listening to my dad's record collection of like Led Zeppelin, The Who, Queen, all that stuff, and I remember growing up, I was like, I can't be dealing with dance music. It's all about guitars and long hair and all that. And then all of a sudden, I sort of in my kind of early teens, I played a PS2 game called Midnight Club 2, and that had Art of Trance on there. It had Blue Owl and Stealth, and those tracks, especially Stealth with the 303 acid distorted, that just blew me away. Sort of driving around and hearing this kind of like screeching around, going crazy.
Yes,
that blew my mind, and I was just like, okay, I had no idea that there was music like this, and then I was just hooked, absolutely hooked. And I think it was around the time when dubstep was getting big. So I was at school, and everyone was like, oh, have you heard this? This is crazy, like this, and all these kind of things. And I wasn't really into that. I was just a weird kid that was bringing in old 90s dance records, and oh, have you heard this? What about this? What about this? I was like, I don't want to hear that.
yeah.
So I was very much doing my own thing, and I just sort of locked myself away in my loft and just absolutely play platypus records to death. And yeah, that album Wildlife on One is probably up there with one of my favorite albums of all time, along with like Led Zeppelin 2.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that album is number one for me. It's just incredible, and that set me up. And since then, I've never looked back, and I'm just so happy that I've got to where I am with Coredata, really.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, I think everyone would really owe something to, like the 60s and the 70s when it comes, like the very first hybrid versions of electronic music somehow. So really, really great experience for those people to, like witness that live at the time, which was like, wow, I wish I could be there. Look, now that I actually have a look at your shirt, there's another thing that we share. And let me say, first of all, hi to Emma, and I will explain you now why. So Dance Love Hub is one of the biggest and most important underground parties in UK. It takes place in London, and myself, Johnny, and a lot of other people, we had the chance, and we've been really like excited to play there. It's an incredible, outstanding environment, atmosphere, even more than actually it's a club, it's a party night. It's not really just a party night. It's like kind of a gathering with kind of a family gathering, right? I really had great experiences and great memories about that, and really hope Emma can cope with this period and she can, sort out a new party next year. I think it's coming. What do you remember about the Dance Love Hub somehow as a party night?
It's just the community. There's something about like France rave parties where you just go there and it's a completely different vibe, and you can just get on with people like you've known them for years, and just because of the mutual love of the music, that's the number one. That's the glue that's holding everyone together. And yeah, Dance Love Hub is amazing. It's that and Trance Sanctuary. They're my favourite events in London. And I actually first went to Trance Sanctuary. I went on my own because I'm the only, like I said before, I was just the weird 90s kid who wanted to listen to old trance records, and no one wanted to go to these events with me. So I just went on my own and met up with Mark, and then through that I found Dance Love Hub, and it's just, you know what I mean. I've gone into these parties with troubles and sort of like not feeling great, and I come out the other side, and it's like kind of you're reborn, and you just feel so good. You just had a workout, you've met people, you've had a dance, you've done all sorts. So yeah, it's good fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, really great experience, great times ahead, and hopefully we're gonna sort out this, and she's gonna build a brand new party. I think it's coming in 2021. Let's really hope the next year will really give us a bit more like satisfaction than what we had so far. Johnny, I think one of the peak moment of your career is your first album artist. Correct me. I think it's your first album artist on the mighty label like Juve, which I had pleasure also to release in there. Now, sometimes people, they just say like, wow, having a release on such a label is great and so forth. But my question, and actually it's more like, because I'm really curious, is what do you really remember about the fact that you wanted to build this album? Like creating an album artist is not just like, yeah, just, throw tracks like that, find somebody who wants to sign them. It's more like, I want to tell something to the world because it's a story in the end, an album. So what do you remember especially about the making of this album?
So Wonder is the title track, and that I finished that a long time ago. I actually finished it after was it Trance Sanctuary New Year's Day. I came back and I finished off the melody, and I thought that was a kind of a big track for me. I thought, okay, this is big. It sounds exactly what I want Coredata to sound like. It's got sort of an ethereal, uplifting tone, but you can still dance to it. And I think that's what I want to create with Coredata. And I've always wanted to do an album. I've always wanted to. I think it's just the best way for an artist to kind of express who they really are, and you get to kind of see an inner working of what they can produce, like what's going on in their mind. And I think the whole concept of an album is dying out, and I just wanted to say, no, I want to do it. Okay?
Yeah.
And I had the pleasure of working with my good friend Sol, who is known as Oracle and also Esco. He sent me a track and I loved it and remixed it, and I just wanted to get him involved as well. And he's a good friend. We've been doing a lot of work together in terms of music. But yeah, I think it's just an expression of the artist. And I think, to be honest, I'd love to do another one, and I'd like to get a bit more experimental with the genres. So there's with the Wonder album, there was a progression through energy, starting off 128, ending 140, with a couple bonus tracks at the end. But I think if I were to do it again, I'd want to get really experimental and have a go at some down tempo, some ambient stuff as well. And I think that's the whole thing I want to do with Coredata is produce lots of different ideas, but still keep it under the umbrella. If you hear a certain track, whether it's down tempo, it could be side breaks or whatever, that's Coredata, and that's always what I wanted to do. I want it to be as expressive as possible. That's my kind of thoughts on it.
Yeah, well, let me first of all say congratulations, because anyway, I think it's really challenging thing sometimes when you think about the journey that you go through, like when you start off conceiving the very first track, and then you feel like, okay, this sounds really, really good for a possible follow-up, and then you realize that actually I really need a third one to, to create a story. I have to say, I really hope one day to be able to do an album, but everything goes, in the right place, like when I really feel like I want to do it, because in the end, it's all about the inspiration, really wanting it. Johnny, I have a last question for the time being about yourself. Now, if you really see yourself, let's say in 5 years or even 10 years, would you say that you really will be part of the electronic music as it looks like now? Or are you thinking about expanding to some other kind of music as well?
Yeah, so I think my love of 90s dance music will never die. It will never go. It will always be there. It's like my love of Led Zeppelin and old 60s, 70s records and bands and stuff like that. I'm worried about the current state of electronic dance music. I mean, even pre-COVID in like London, and trying to find venues to hold events and get the right kind of amount of people to come down and get a vibe of it is very difficult with sort of rising prices and things like that. But I want to make sure I'm still there and gigging as much as possible and giving back to the dance community that I love so much. I don't ever want to see it go. So I'd very much like to be a part of it for as long as I can. But I think it's all down to making sure that I'm developing the project Coredata, and I don't want to, because the way like someone like Above and Beyond they've progressed from sort of their early uplifting stuff to what they are now. You might not like where they are now, but you have to. Any artist has to progress. You can't be sort of standing still. So I'd want to progress and do new things as much as possible. I've got something working on things that are a bit more not a bit different compared to the album that I'd like to be able to announce at some point, but I don't know. It's down to other things. But it'll be interesting to see how well that goes down and see what people make of it. But yeah, all we can do is wait. And like I said, I just pray that we can get back into the swing of things next summer, get partying again, travel, do all the bits, and just get gigging again. I'm just absolutely dying for it, to be honest.
Oh yes, absolutely. So Johnny, thank you so much, first of all, for being here. For everyone who's watching this interview, you will find links to Johnny's profile page, to his Beatport page. So please feel free to support the artist as usual, guys. Don't forget that the artists rely also on you, on everyone. It's all about helping each other, especially in these hard times. So feel free to visit our website. Feel free to visit the Beatport page. You will find all the links in the description of the video. Stay tuned, because the second artist will be announced very soon at the end of this interview. And for the rest, guys, thank you so much for the support to Landscapes Music. And once again, Johnny, thank you so much for being part of this huge, big community.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Cheers, guys. Cheers, Shai.
All right. See ya, Johnny, and best of luck.